Hello everyone and welcome to the Transit Nomad family. What makes cities comfortable and things I love in Asia, unedited vlog. Before we get started, I'd like to let you know that I'm currently in East and Southeast Asia for a few months, and during this time I'm recording lots of exclusive content comparing different cities in the region to help you decide which ones you should visit, while also saving you lots of time and money with practical tips on how to get the most out of your trip. For example, Singapore is one of the most expensive destinations in the world, but I know a way how you can save hundreds or maybe even thousands of dollars when visiting Singapore, and it's not something that others talk about on YouTube. So head over to buymeacoffee.com/transitnomad using the link below and donate any amount of your choice, no matter how big or how small, to get exclusive access to my most helpful content on Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Bangkok, Hong Kong, and many other cities in Asia, Europe, and the United States. With that being said, we are currently located at Singapore City Gallery, which is one of those kind of unknown, underrated places that you can visit when you are in Singapore. It is a very large property with lots of very interesting information and history of how Singapore grew and developed over the years, from the past to the present. I learned a lot hanging out here. I'm not a city planner, I'm not an expert in any way. The information I'm sharing with you is just a basic tour, along with some of my personal thoughts. I like to travel and I like to explore cities, and I'm a huge fan of public transport, but I'm no way an expert, so just keep that in mind when you join me in this video. And one thing that stands out before anything else is this huge model of the entire Singapore city or country, because it's both city and country at the same time. It's very impressive, and you can take a look and see how much detail went into it. We're gonna go downstairs and take a look at it a little bit more later on. But also, this museum features a lot of really cool interactive galleries that you can explore. And for example, this one right here, it allows you to design your own street while educating yourself on what makes a good street possible. You can choose any street as a base. For example, here in Singapore, Orchard Road is one of the most famous streets. And here you get the ability to select which we can skip the tutorial, and you can select different things that you can build on this street. For example, let's add a bus lane over here, and you can see how much space that takes. Then we can add a car lane, and we can add a bike lane, and over here we can also consider adding some trees and other things, maybe some lights, everything that you need for a street to be functional. I'm just giving you an example. What I'm building is probably kind of ridiculous, but once we are done, we can click complete right here, and this gives us a conclusion on what and rates our construction here, our city planning. So we see that we did a good job with the trees and the lampposts and cycling paths, but there is no sidewalk for pedestrians. Also, you can see how many people that bus lane can move. You can see also the impact on the environment as well as the overall score. So if you spend a little bit more time, you can do something a lot better. And I think it's a very good way to educate yourself on what it takes to build a good street, a good public space, which Singapore has done a great job creating a lot of really cool public spaces. Also, they educate you here that cars are not very efficient. It's not the best way to transport people in big cities or even smaller cities. Basically, public transportation is the way to go. This is also like another one of the interactive things that you can do here. If you click on this screen, it gives you it asks you some questions, and you can kind of educate yourself on what it takes to build a good transport system and all that stuff. The best part of all is that this museum right here, it's free. It's free to visit, it's free to explore, and you can get lost here for hours. So if it's too hot or it's raining too much, or you just want to take a break and learn something very cool, this is a great place to explore. It's located right next to Chinatown, or maybe in Chinatown, and I highly recommend it. As the city grows, should Sing City build more roads to accommodate the growing number of cars? No. I didn't have a chance to answer that, but no, building more roads is not the answer to improve the traffic, and they educate you on that over here too, which again, I think Singapore has done a very good job developing their infrastructure and public transportation, and all those policies have resulted in a very low car ownership in Singapore and very efficient public transportation. So definitely a lot of cities can learn from Singapore, and it's very interesting to explore this gallery. It's huge. There is a lot of really valuable information. I wish I could spend a little bit more time exploring all the things that it has to offer, because I'm very interested in this topic, but also there's so much stuff I want to see in the city. There are so many things to do and places to visit, so you kind of have to have a balance when it comes to traveling, trying to prioritize and do a little bit of everything.
To make Singapore a great city to live, work, and play. But our city is not just about systems, it is also about people. What can you do to help build a better tomorrow? Find out how our city works and what you can do to play your part.
I also mentioned that I'm going to talk about
Clean water at the turn of a tap. Light at the flick of a switch. And trash cleared once placed in the bin. Getting around easily with different modes of transport, and experiencing greenery at every corner. But what makes these everyday actions of ours so convenient? The 5 urban systems of water, waste, energy, transport, and green spanning our precincts work together like parts of an engine to run the entire city. Because of our limited land, these urban systems are built within the spaces we work and live, and even below the ground we walk on. As our city grows, these large and complex systems will have to work harder to meet the needs of more people. Innovative solutions will help to keep them running faster and better. Every bit of our resources can be used to the fullest. For instance, used water travels through tunnels deep underground to reclamation plants where the water is purified and ready to be used again.
So I don't think we need to stay for the whole presentation, but my point is that it definitely has a lot to offer, this gallery, and you can learn a lot of really awesome stuff, especially if you're interested in city planning, public transportation, and history. I think it's a very good destination. And what I also wanted to talk about is generally the things that I really appreciate when I travel in Asia, and the things that I feel that the United States could work on and make it better, hopefully one day. Maybe it's not gonna happen, maybe it will happen eventually, because it also has to do with the way that people vote, how they choose to spend their funds, and what kind of priorities they decide to focus on. Because in the United States it's democracy, so it's the people that are making these decisions when they are voting. And also public opinion can change based on the government and the way it communicates. And in the United States, a lot of people, they think that if you build a wider road, for example, going back to the earlier part of the video, they think that it's going to make the traffic better. But studies have shown over and over again that that is not the case. In order to make the traffic better, people need to have alternatives to driving, and that includes public transportation before everything else. And that's what reduces the traffic, because a bus can fit 100 people, a train can fit several hundred people, and the car can fit only 1, 2, maximum 4 people. So of course it does make a huge difference. And this is one of the many things that I wish that we had more education in the United States focusing on this kind of stuff. Now let's take a look at that model a little bit, and talk also about Asia in general. I noticed another thing that where Asia shines is public toilets. This is something that is not very it's available in the United States, but it's not very common in Europe, unfortunately. And in Europe, it's considered a privilege to be able to use the toilet. You have to be a paying customer at a restaurant, or even if it's a fast food chain and you order something, in many cities you still have to pay for the toilet separately. The public toilets also, there aren't enough of them, but when you find one, you also have to pay for it. So this is something that Europe could definitely improve on, learning from Asia, because here there are plenty of public toilets basically everywhere, including train stations, public transportation stations, any kind of, basically almost everywhere. You don't have to look for it. You don't have to plan your schedule around your toilet usage, or try to drink less water because you don't want to spend 30 minutes trying to find a toilet. In Europe, this is something that happens a lot, but here it doesn't happen at all. And I feel like Asia is way ahead. And this is definitely something that Europe should work on. As far as pedestrian-friendly spaces, I think Asia has done a lot of great work here, and this is part of why I'm filming this video at this museum or this gallery, because they have done a lot of work to build not just sidewalks, but also like very good infrastructure for people walking around, thinking everything through and making sure that people have access to everything they need within walking distance. And that is something that Europe is good at also, but United States is a little bit behind. In many parts of the country in the United States, you cannot survive without driving, or you can survive, but basically just doing something basic, like, I don't know, getting a bottle of milk might take you half a day if you don't have a car. So definitely I appreciate this in Asia. Very good infrastructure for people who are walking around. It's not everywhere, but many places have this. And also free public toilets available everywhere, and excellent public transportation also available in many places. Not everywhere, but in many places. So let's take a look at the other side of this model, because we can see some of the famous landmarks over there. I'm not sure why some of them are, I don't know if they are not finished or if it's like this on purpose, but over here we can see gardens by Marina Bay Sands, which is a very famous hotel. And if you do happen to come to Singapore, I highly recommend visiting that property. It's not only impressive outside, and the area around it is awesome to explore, but also it has a lot of really eye-pleasing things to look at inside, and it's free to explore it. Just walk around that huge shopping mall that they have inside, and take a look at the design. And they have free fountain light shows and many other things going on over there. So I highly recommend checking that out. It is a very famous place. It's hard to miss it, but Maybe some people think it's not that important to go to a hotel if they are not staying there, but in this case it's absolutely worth it. Also, right by that hotel, they built a very beautiful park. It's called Gardens by the Bay. You can see these interesting structures. Those are man-made giant trees, and they also have another light show with those trees. That show is cool. It's not as cool as the one that's right next to the hotel itself. On the other side, it's basically right behind those three buildings. I think it's called Spectra Live Show, if I'm not mistaken. It's right by the water, and that show is very impressive, one of the best I've ever seen. And the giant tree show, it's still cool, but it's a little bit more like for kids, I think. It's still worth checking it out at least once. But the park itself is really beautiful. Fountains, very nice landscaping. Definitely worth walking around and exploring and appreciating all the beautiful nature, because it rains a lot here in Singapore. Definitely the city has very beautiful nature, lots of really awesome trees, and it's a very eye-pleasing experience walking around Singapore, especially seeing how these modern buildings and skyscrapers blend in with the trees, and how they try to build new buildings and also making them green. This is also very important for city planning, for air quality. They do take all of that into consideration, and I think they are doing an excellent job getting it done. Again, a lot of things we could learn from Singapore. Well, maybe there are some things that Singapore can learn from the West too. You can share your thoughts in the comment section below. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm just sharing what I like about Asia. Whenever I travel to Asia, I find that many Asian cities have some things in common, especially when it comes to Singapore, Hong Kong, Seoul, Taipei, other big cities. They have this really good infrastructure and really good public spaces where you can live, but also you can work and you can play and you can hang out, and everything is within walking distance. And I believe we need more places like this in the United States to make our life better, especially in California, where I come from. The majority of people, they live in places that are called suburbs, and basically if you want to do anything, you have to drive. The only thing you can do is just get in your car and start driving. Other than that, many of these suburbs, they don't even have sidewalks. So if you want to walk, you're gonna have to share your road with other cars while you're walking, which is not very comfortable. So what else do I like in Asia? One thing I want to mention is the people. I find people to be considerate and kind, and generally speaking, I really appreciate the fact that people think about others, not just themselves. I feel like people are trying to take care of each other a little bit more. In the West, people mostly think about themselves first, and this kind of culture, I think the best thing is to have a balance. You have to think about yourself, of course. You have to love yourself, but it's also good to care about others. For example, if you're in a public place, maybe you don't want to play loud music on your phone in front of a bunch of other people, because maybe they're not interested in hearing that music at that moment, and other things like that. In Asia, I feel that it's very very comfortable, also very safe, very clean. You don't see any trash, and you don't see any strange people. Usually, for the most part, you don't see any homeless people, or if you do see it, it's very rare. I don't know what they do to make it like this, but and I don't have all the answers to all the questions, but I'm just sharing my experience, and it feels very comfortable walking around these streets and enjoying everything that they have to offer. With that being said, I would like to point out that regardless of whether you're currently in Asia, Europe, USA, or anywhere else, if you haven't done much long-term or long-distance traveling lately, I would like to challenge you to broaden your horizons and give it a try. When you visit new places, you might find yourself feeling happier and more fulfilled with new ideas and inspiration and motivation to accomplish your life goals. And it's not just my personal opinion, it's something that's been confirmed by scientific research. In the worst case scenario, you'll just learn how to appreciate your home country more. Either way, it should be a win-win. And as an active traveler and business owner with experience, I might be able to assist you with trip planning, life coaching, and business consulting, with all the details available at buymeacoffee.com/transitnomad or through the link in the video description below. This is where you can also find lots of exclusive content on many different cities around the world, my secret tips, PDF guides, and the option to request a custom video on any topic that matters to you. Thank you everyone for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. I appreciate you being a part of the Transit Nomad family and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.